Gente, hoje eu tenho aqui conosco Yvonne Cagle, que é nada mais nada menos do que a primeira mulher escolhida para ir para a Lua e mais do que isso, para colonizar Marte. Ela vai contar pra gente como ela chegou lá, qual é a história e principalmente o que ela está fazendo aqui no Brasil, em Belo Horizonte. Yvonne, thank you so much for having the time to speak with me.
Thank you, it's wonderful to be here.
One thing that everybody wants to know is how does one become an astronaut? Could you tell us a little bit of what your story has been and how in the end you have been picked by the US to potentially to colonize Moon and even Mars?
Oh, that's exciting. My personal story is next year will be the 50th anniversary of human walking on the moon. Mm-hmm. Well, that July night, July 1969, I was a young girl dreaming of the stars at the top of a tree, playing hide-and-go-seek and hoping not to be found. 3 hours later, I was still talking to the man on the moon when suddenly, out of nowhere, I heard a voice calling my name, thinking it must be destiny. Turns out it was actually my dad, and as I came inside, he silently pointed to the TV and whispered and said, "This is human walking on moon for the very first time." I immediately ran outside because I had just been talking to the man on the moon, hoping I would see him, and I didn't. And after 2 hours of running back and forth, I finally realized the only thing more amazing than actually seeing the man on the moon, which I wasn't going to be able to do from that distance, was what I must look like to that man looking back on Earth. At that moment, my dreams took wings, and I haven't looked back since. I did my undergraduate in biochemistry, on to medical school, completing my medical degree on an Air Force scholarship, and then spent the next 22 years rising to the rank of colonel as a senior flight surgeon and flying in all sorts of high-performance jets, helicopters, air-to-air refuelers, and medical evacuation aircraft. Finally, I wanted to go a little higher, lot faster, and at that time, the only way to get there was the space shuttle, and so I was fortunate enough to be selected, and I've been training for off-planet exploration ever since.
And one thing that many people, when I was a kid, as I guess many more people, my dream was eventually one day to become an astronaut, but then eventually I became an economist, which, okay, I love it anyway, so I'm glad I did. My guess is I would love to be, as you said, on the other side of the TV, but that's fine anyway. Having that in mind, one thing that when I talk to my own kid, who now has the age that I have when I wanted to be an astronaut, and he says something, "Oh, I would love to go to the space," my wife says, "No, it's too dangerous, don't do it." How did you, were you ever afraid of the path that you were choosing, or the mission was so big and so compelling that it was never an issue?
The mission was always so much greater. It was greater than all of us, and even greater than the fear. And the benefits and the learning and the experience, it's just nothing like it on Earth. It's sort of like learning to swim. When you're at the edge of the pool or the beautiful ocean, it's so irresistible. At some point, you just have to take that leap of faith and that giant leap, knowing that no matter what happens, you're only going to be the better for it when you return.
What has surprised you so far in this journey, if anything?
That the journey is not about the destination, that the real learning and the real evolution of self and self-discovery and the real contribution that we can bring back to our lives here on Earth is in the journey, in the learning, in the collaborations in the community itself.
Why do you think, what made it possible for you to become the one among so many that probably had a similar dream as, I'm sure you were not the only kid looking at TV at that point, and I'm sure that your dream was shared by many people. What do you think it made possible in your journey, and what did you do, or what is specific about you made so many people bet on you to make that happen?
Well, I think the important thing is to remember that the key to any achievement in life is really perseverance. It doesn't matter your race, your gender, your religion, your age, any of the isms that are out there. It's your determination. You determine and you define what capability can be realized in your life. The requirements for being an astronaut are, in most cases, a master's in one of the science, engineering areas, even education, and then having 3 years of experience in a related field. And that can include, robotics, flying, teaching, along with the areas of STEM and STEAM. I like to call it teams because it has a more collaborative feel for technology, engineering, art, math, and science. And then to simply put your application in. So after perseverance comes believing in the potential that the impossible is possible, not letting your own self-talk, self-editing set you back, but just taking the very next step of a series of steps that moves you towards your goal, your dream. And that's what I did. And then understanding that whether you're selected to be part of that crew or not, in government space, in civilian or industry space, knowing that your dream, just like your possibility, is bigger than selection. That there are so many ways to realize your dream. That there's space exploration, but there's exploration on Earth too. And everyone can be an astronaut if they're willing to participate in exploration by being a part of the mission and contributing, learning, innovating. That makes us all spacefarers.
You mentioned, to me at least, several key points. One is the self-boundaries that we impose on ourselves. The other one is, yes, the space is there. Who knows if eventually we'll be there colonizing, let's say, Mars. But more than that, before going to Mars, you came here to Belo Horizonte, and I would like to bring our talk to why you're here now.
Because I think it's very important for us as a space-faring species and as Earth inhabitants to make sure that we ensure our future. And the only way to ensure our future is to make sure that we invest in its sustainability. And that means, first and foremost, our next generation. And our next generation, I always tell them that they have, a front row in the line to go anywhere they want, but they need to be prepared properly. And that's why I'm here, because there is so much opportunity, not just to teach innovation and how to improve our environment, our ecosystem, our lives, our own bodies, but how to do it together as a team collaboratively, and more importantly, to learn the art of being able to share our knowledge, which is the only way to grow it. And so instead of becoming expert at something in university or in a particular industry and not being able to share it, come to a place where you can openly and freely grow your knowledge, evolve your expertise, plant your innovation in a way that has sustainability to the local community right here.
And how does your role as an ambassador for Hyperloop Transportation Technology Academy and the fact that Hyperloop Transportation Technology has opened its global research center here in Brazil, and more particular here in Contagem, Minas Gerais, brings all that together?
Well, the power of innovation is really in the energy of the local talent that is right here embedded in our own community. And we want to start it here because in a very big way, innovation is coming. It's coming tomorrow. It's coming already. And to be able to take that innovation in a place where there's so much talent in our universities, in our industry, and recognizing that the engine of innovation is in the individual. That if we can incubate that here and use it to address and reconcile priorities in the ecology here, in the environment here, in transportation here, it's not just about advancing any one particular mission or goal, but learning the tools and the skills to make sure this is something that we can replicate in the next generation as they move forward to secure and sustain our future.
our audience basically is composed of Brazilians who are interested in innovation. What is your last message to them? What do they need to do? They need to know to be able to move ahead and innovate and help the country and the world do better in terms of doing things easier, faster, better than we used to.
Well, the only way to make innovation sustainable is to find things that will be relevant and that can change our lives and be something that we can all rally around and embrace together, because that's how you build community, and then you can embed innovation and it's something that will have longevity. So I think the most important thing is to find out what people care about, find out what the important issues are, find out what you care about, or find something to care about, attach yourself to it, and then find ways to use innovation and technology to optimize it and then to make it resilient and sustainable. So the most important message of all is if you can find a way to do that on Earth and right here, then not even the sky is the limit, and we can take that well beyond Moon and Mars, because there's space for all.